Okay, it's only 4:30, but I don't know. I woke up. Well, it was like Stella woke up, and then once she, but it wasn't even a big wake. I mean, she just kind of like was moving around and doing stuff, and I woke up, and then I just kept thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, like at 1:30. So I've been up for a while, but I'm in a bad fucking mood. Like, and it isn't even about the sleep. It's this intense energy, and that's probably why I couldn't sleep. It's so fucking intense. I feel like my brain's gonna just blow right out of my fucking head. So, I was like, okay, well, I was trying to look at TikTok or something. Everything is so motherfucking like redundant or something. It's just like the same motherfucking thing over and over and over. Like it's raining. I swear to God, I feel like I've been in a rainstorm for fucking 4 years or something. Like, this is just, oh, I'm so fucking burnt out. And then it's supposed to be this big planetary alignment today, before dawn. The planetary alignment they were talking about that's supposed to change everything. So, oh, Jesus Christ, something's got to change something. Which, this was so funny because Trump now has gone on TikTok. I don't know where it's all going to go, but I hope he starts, you know, going like true Trump, because on Twitter, oh my gosh, he would say the wackiest stuff. So having the videos and stuff, we'll just see where it goes. But he just went on yesterday, I guess, and it was like within a few hours, there's 2.8 million people following him. And but anybody who knows what he's like on social media, he's so funny. And but you know, hopefully it's a part of the, well, I don't want to say hopefully, I just want things to start moving faster. It's like, god damn, fuck, god damn, how slow can this go? It's like, god, man, it's like they're just trying to frustrate us. And I'll tell you, like, this is just whacks me out. I swear to God. Like, seeing a video and the person's like, oh my gosh, I've been awake 3 years. Welcome. I'm just so excited to see so many videos of people waking up and seeing the truth. And, you know, the 3 years, of course, got me. And it's like, motherfucker. 8 years. People who have been awake for 2 years, people who have been awake a goddamn year have no patience for this shit. People who have been awake 2 years, 3 years, they're about to lose their mind. Just imagine 8 years. Like, I mean, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm fucking sick of this shit. Like, beyond anything I could express. And then when I see that kind of stuff, it's very triggering, I think. Like, 3 years and you're burnt out? Like, try being this from 2016. It's like, son of a bitch. Oh, man, I'm burnt out. And the energy is so intense. And I fucking hope this planetary alignment is going to do something. And I was going to go out and try and see. But I think maybe if you were in Montana and you could see more sky. I have such limited sky I can see. And then plus through all the overcast and rain. And somebody was just doing footage of McKinney. That is so crazy. I hadn't even thought about that when she said it. Because McKinney, I hung out a lot when I was a teenager. That's where all the race car driver guys lived. And I lived in Dallas. But it used to be there wasn't anything in between. Now it's all in between. But so she was showing the clouds up in the sky. And she's like, this is not. Yeah, this is so weird. And then she did another video talking about it. And her kid, I think, was like saying something about giants in the sky. And she's like, well, I don't think giants would be in the sky, but that's where people got to see. Isn't like, we don't have just open sky. There's realms and realities all around us. Like, you don't have just open space. It's a part of your illusion. And so, anyways, this video, I'm going to talk about this I had just seen, and this guy was giving this like kind of a long story about this date he went on with the A-list actor. And so he was at this concert, and it kind of goes with some stuff I've talked about. That's what I'm going to talk about it. So he goes to this concert, he's backstage, he meets this A-list actor guy. This A-list guy actor, he hasn't said his name that I know of. starts like being flirtatious with him and stuff, and you know, saying, why don't we go, well, what do you do for a living? And the guy does social media for some celebrities and stuff. So then he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I would like to talk to you about mine. And so why don't we have a date? And let me get your number. And so then he calls him a couple days later and says, okay, I've got, you know, when do you want to go out? And we'll talk about this social media thing and stuff. And so he had tickets to another thing and said, okay, well, how about this night? And the guy was like, yeah. And so this date is like disaster from the beginning. Like I would have left this date. Like, no way. Well, I've gone through this. And then that's one thing too, is like where we have to learn our boundaries. Like I don't know where this guy is in his healing, and I can't say in all of my, I mean, back before I was healed, I would have probably sat there and put myself through a lot of this shit that this guy was going through. But now it's like, hell no. And so this, it starts with him going to the hotel and meeting up with the guy in the lobby or whatever. So the guy who's the social media guy, the guy telling the story, he goes and gets a cab. So right off the bat, he was invited, but now this guy's doing all the work. So he gets invited to the state. He has to go out, get the cab. Then he pays for the cab once they get there. And what was even worse was as soon as the actor got into the cab, he started having a meltdown. I don't know if he was on the phone or something. He started having a meltdown and was yelling and screaming the whole drive to get to the place. And the guy's just sitting there. And he said that was weird. Like, he was like thinking, okay, this guy's not my vibe. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but, man, he's got anger issues or something. So he's still thinking, okay, well, you know, I'm out. Let's see how this goes. And so the guy gets there and to the place, and he, I think it was like some kind of an event, but there was another section or something where you could just go eat or something, or a restaurant above the event or something. So once they got there, the guy was like apologizing for his behavior already. And then he starts saying that he just really wants to go eat. Let's just go up to the restaurant and eat. So the guy goes, okay, you know, we'll go up there. So he goes up to the restaurant and to go in, and I don't remember. Everywhere they would go, people would be stopping him and wanting to take pictures of the guy he was with and stuff. And so he had to deal with that already. And, you know, he was just kind of standing back by those guys getting his picture taken all through the thing. And then get over to their table and start ordering their stuff and their food. And the guy, you know, I think he apologized again about something. I don't know. But then, so the one guy who's there, who was invited, he starts trying to ask him questions because he looked up to this guy. He thought this guy was super cool. He liked his style. He was asking him stuff. And he asked him something about, you know, something he wore or something to a thing. And this guy lost it again. He starts freaking out. And he said it was so embarrassing because he was yelling and having such a thing in the restaurant. And everybody was turning and looking. He said it was so embarrassing. At that point, I was like, there is no way. This guy is so not my vibe that there's no fucking way. And I have no interest in this date. Now it's just a job interview kind of thing. And so after his next meltdown or whatever, and they finished their food, like, I swear I would have left by now. Like, I think by the time I think in the cab ride that you know, when the guy was already having a fit, I would have probably been like, it doesn't seem like it's a good night for you, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off, you know, because I'm not gonna let somebody else's bullshit energy drain me like that. You know, I used to put myself aside and be like, you know, I don't want to make them feel bad. But you just carry too much of other people's, and other people are willing to just load it down on you. You know, you just break your back trying to make sure other people don't feel bad. And so, so then the waitress comes over with the check, and the fucking guy looks away. He won't even acknowledge the lady. So then the guy who was invited is sitting there like, oh my God. So he gets out his card, and he said it cost him 480 pounds, which I think that's around 670 or something like that. It depends on what the, ratio was at the time or whatever, what the worth was, $1 to a pound. But I'm pretty sure that it's, we have to pay more, like it'd be more dollars than it was pounds, but maybe it would be more pounds than dollars. I don't know. If it's that important, you can look it up. But anyways, so it was a lot of money. Like, I wouldn't have been able to pay for that date. I would have been like, if he's not paying, I guess I'll wash some dishes. Like, I would have said something to him, I think. I would have been like, you know, I don't know. I feel like the guy who was on the date was being too passive, being too, you know, like, maybe it was because the guy was famous and he didn't want to, or maybe it was because he didn't want to embarrass himself. I don't know. But, I mean, that is so fucking juvenile. So fucking juvenile. Like, I mean, I think all of us have been out to eat with people who, when the check comes, you know, they're ordering this and ordering that, and the check comes, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I thought you were paying. It's like, well, you sure were ordering like I was, weren't you? So, so anyways, it's just, you know, that same kind of thing of like, you're pulling on someone else's energy. You're not. And the guy who was on the date, he said, I should have at that point said, hey, we're going to split this. Yeah. You should have said, hey, you know, I'm going to pay my half. That's what I would have probably done, is say, well, here's my card, but you need to divide the check into two. As soon as that guy had that kind of behavior. But I also was thinking, you know, is that show too, that these people don't have access to their money, like, you know, what they're worth? Because I was even thinking about that the other day. I got out the apple cider vinegar and I was using it, and I was thinking, what a strange thing for Katy Perry to buy. I was like, it seems kind of like there's people over her money who tell her what she's going to invest in because it's their investment that they're using her money. I swear there's something weird about their money. Like, they tell us these people are so rich, but it's like they're allowed a lifestyle, and allowed a lifestyle for us to envy. And I don't know that they're really all that rich where they just have no, because like, if you're so rich, you're an A-list actor, this dinner that you invited somebody on should be nothing, you know, especially when you choose the restaurant and you know the prices of it. So then it's like, which to me, I don't know, is very diva kind of move to make, you know. I don't know. It's just such bad behavior to me. And then, so it just reminds me of, because this happened all the way back in, I guess, it was after I was triggered, and I was, on Twitter, and I got on Twitter because I thought I was going to talk to this person who had triggered me. I was like, fuck, I desperately feel like I need to talk to this person, and I didn't know how. And so I had gone on Twitter, and I thought I would talk to him that way. Well, all of a sudden, I had all these fake accounts of this person. It was the weirdest thing, because I didn't know that they were fake accounts. And so at first, I got approached, and they started, you know, talking to me in my DM thing. And so I think it's this person. And I thought, oh, see, this is what the universe was doing. So I'm sitting here talking to this person all day. And then they invited me somewhere. And they invited me to go on this thing. And it was a Valentine's thing, too. It was Valentine's Day when this was going on. Fucking like in 2018. Yeah, 2018, because I was triggered in 2017. So, yeah, it was 2018. And they invited me into this thing, and I was going to have to get this flight. And so I'm talking to him and everything. And then they asked me for some money or to pay for something. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not that person. There's no fucking way. No way. And so I had already told my kids, oh, I'm talking to them. Like, we're chatting. And they're like, no, check the thing, push on the thing and see if it goes to their account. And but those people who do those are tricky because they take all the same stuff. So they make their account look exactly like the other person's. And you have to look into it more than that. So anyways, it was very tricky. But they, after that, I had a whole bunch, like all sorts of like famous people were trying to be my friend on Twitter. And then I got the thing of going and checking their account. Then I knew how to go do that. There was somebody who really was a famous person, but some of the people weren't. And anyways, so this person want this, you know, where he's wanting him to pay for this thing, for the food, and then the guy does. And so then they're going to the next thing. Then the guy was like, oh, now I want to go to the club. I just want to go relax, go watch this show or something. And so they go into this place. They go up this elevator or something, go into this other place. And he said that the guy goes over to the bar and orders a bottle of champagne and then walks away again, having this guy pay. So he's made him pay for the cab, the dinner, and now his drinks. So he gets them this champagne and they go sit. It must be like a show, like a music show or something, because they have to go sit in seats, like a play, or maybe it's like a, I don't know. But they're sitting in their seats. As soon as they sit down and the show starts, he said the guy falls asleep. And so he's sitting here. I see, I would have left. There's no motherfucking way. No way. I mean, when you are healed, you have better boundaries than that. You're not going to sit there like, this guy's already showing his way he is. He's already had a fit. Like, I mean, he didn't even wait to the second date to have his meltdown. Like, come on. And then, so he falls asleep. The guy sits there and waits when the middle thing, whatever he called it, there's a middle part of a show where you get to go to the bathroom or whatever, and they turn on the lights and stuff, like where they change the stage and costumes or something. And so the light comes on for the middle part. And the one guy was super embarrassed, and I don't remember what he said, but then the lights went back out or whatever, and they watched the rest of the show or something. And he said that when the guy was asleep, he said he was so embarrassed. It's like, I would have left him there by himself to be embarrassed for himself. I mean, this is probably what this guy does. This is how this guy lives. I mean, and then even when he went out, when it was all over, and the guy at this point, he said he was so drained. He just wanted out. He just wanted done. He didn't give a shit about, what was it? I think it was in it must have been on the second part or something. Some part, this guy tells him that he can't have him do his social media because that would be too much, having him have to fly to New York from London. You're just, you know, that won't work. That would just be too much. And so the guy was just like so done with the whole thing, which I would have been done a long time ago. But he goes down there to, and he may have told him after all this. I don't remember, somewhere in there though, but that was the outcome on the work thing. And, but after the show, he goes down there and the guy was like, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to leave? What am I supposed to do? And the guy was like, well, because the guy was excusing himself at that point. Okay, well, see you later. Bye, thanks. And the guy's like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I? It's like, are you this fucking handicapped for real? Like, you don't know how to get yourself around? You need somebody to go take you around and pay for things? Like, are you a juvenile? Like, what the fuck, dude? And so he, you know, he doesn't know how to get himself back to his hotel. And he doesn't know how to order an Uber himself. So the guy orders an Uber on his phone, which then you're paying for this guy's Uber again. So you're paying for this whole night out of this rich person. So weird, especially when this person invited you out. And then, so he gets him back to his hotel. He takes the Uber too and goes back to the hotel. And then he says, okay, well, I'm going to leave. And that may have been when the guy told him, you know, well, this isn't going to work. And tried to kiss him. And the guy was just like, and I don't know if the guy had messaged him again or something. I don't know. But the guy said he was so fucking drained. Because you see, oh, that's like draining. There's no balance. This guy can't even fucking take care of himself. He doesn't know how to, like, honestly has no business even being out dating. Like, he just needs to, it's like he's just looking for someone to take care of him. And, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people who look up to celebrities and stuff. And there's a lot of celebrities that are mentally handicapped in some way. They are like when like what I've talked about before, like an alcoholic who starts drinking when they're like 16 or 17, and then they're like 52 and they stop drinking and they start going through life trying to deal with it sober. They're going to be dealing with it and the maturity of a 16-year-old because they skipped all the maturing opportunities. Because instead of going through something, they went and drank. So they didn't go through anything and grow and heal. They just drank themselves through it. So it's kind of like this dependency. If you go into this lifestyle, like this celebrity lifestyle, and you are, don't have a good self-esteem or self-awareness or something like that, where you can be, used, like they use these people to death, but there's like a stifling, you know, like some of the stuff that J-Lo is doing is so fucking embarrassing for herself, but she doesn't seem to be embarrassed. It's like, oh my God, girl, are you like the maturity of like an 11, 12-year-old or something? It's like there's a stagnation. Like you have to make an effort to grow. You know, you have to deal with life to grow up. You have to deal with things, deal with people, deal with things you don't want or like. Especially if somebody's having like this mini meltdown over a little thing and then bringing up old stuff and they start melting down again. It's like they have no emotional regulation on themselves. They can't handle things. But there is this, this celebrity lifestyle, I think, that kind of handicaps a lot of people in that same kind of way. Like they don't deal with things. They don't grow. They have someone else do it for them. Somebody else take care of this. So they're not really, you know, where the rest of us, you know, we're dealing with some shit. We're dealing with trying to pay our bills, trying to get through life, trying to deal with bullshit at jobs. And, you know, and I'm not saying that they don't have bullshit to deal with, but it's a whole different ball game, the stuff they're dealing with. And there is people who are out to try and control them. Like, we're not having that same thing where we have people who are trying to control our every move and overseeing us and telling us what we can say and what we can't say. Well, we're kind of getting that feel now. Now, we got in social media where people became so dependent on it, and now social media is so controlling over what we can talk about. And so that's another thing I'm curious about, how this Trump thing is going to go. Because they're constantly, you know, they're going to take down, and we're all censored. So any of us who are speaking about, and it's not just speaking the truth, it's speaking about health, speaking about anything to get people to think for themselves, then we're all stifled. And that's the whole thing, is the thinking for yourself, confirmation, the thinking for yourself is a part of the awakening. It's part of like this, you know, elaboration to self-identity. And so it is, you know, and it's what's happening here. This is what everything is about, this awakening. And it is, oh my God, it's so frustrating. I swear. It's just, I don't know. Oh, it's just frustrating. For how long it goes and how long I've been going in it. And it's like, oh. And, you know, the people who just wake up, how, it's like, dude, I've been talking about this shit for a long fucking time. And, so, anyways, it feels like that same thing with that intensity, with the energy, right? And I have to do this all the time throughout the day. It's just this constant try and catch my breath or take a deep breath or something. Everything is like, then I've noticed another thing too, is like when I look in the mirror, it looks different. Like I look different. It's like the room looks different. And one thing that is kind of weird too, is I feel like I'm further away from the mirror. Like I feel like, man, it used to be like, I don't know. I don't understand if it's like, it's just all in my perception or what, but definitely there's weird things happening. Things are definitely changing, and it's frustrating for how long it goes, especially because I think the thing that frustrates me the most is because I know that things are going to get so much better. Like I know my life is going to take off and do so much better. And so when you're sitting here and it's not like, oh, well, it's not going to happen. It's not like that. It's like, come on, when is this going to happen? How long is this going to go? It's like, I want to get to the good part. I'm like, I know the good part's coming. I want to get to the good part. And so that creates the frustration in me, is like knowing that it's coming, but how like it just keeps seeming like it's just up ahead. It's up ahead. It's kind of like when you are driving somewhere and you see something and you think, well, you're going to drive and you're going to get to there, but it just seems like it just keeps being further away and further away. You go and go and go. That used to get me when we would go on trips when I was little. And I would ask my dad, well, how far ahead can you see? How far is that? And he would always say 20 miles. You can see 20 miles ahead. And so I've always thought about that. Like when I'm driving and stuff and I'll see something, I'll think, okay, so that's 20 miles ahead. And let's just see how long it takes, you know, if I can ever get there. Do I get there in 20 miles? And I think that some things are hundreds of miles away or something. And I think some things are like backdrop too. That is one thing like around here with the mountains and stuff. I swear to God, some of them, it's like a backdrop. I don't know. It's like the Truman Show. Every fucking thing is like the Truman Show. It's just so fucking fake. And it's almost like we're all in our own little reality bubbles, you know? Even though that we are all under this umbrella, but we're not all living the same reality. And that is, I think it's a part of having to accept other realities, you know, not being judgmental. What was that? Oh yeah, this movie. Oh yeah. This movie I watched this year, it was like this love story. It was kind of cute. I feel like I smell like something's burning. Hold on a second. Of course, I've already been cooking. I'm cooking also. I just cooked this, I don't know, breakfast bread stuff. Chocolate breakfast loaf or something. Oh, I hope I didn't make it burnt. So, anyways, so this movie that I was watching, it was a cute little love story thing. But on it, this guy, he was a journalist or something, and he went into one of these war countries. I can't remember. It seemed like he had said like Kosovo or something. It made me think like, God, there's so many of these fucking wars going on, like these wars that I think that they're all created in these small countries too, like, and then where they want resources and stuff, so they create internal, just like that they're doing here, you know, with the division and the arguing and people arguing over what color shirt or hat you wear and stuff. It's just like, let me start scrolling. So it's just that same kind of division, I think, that they create everywhere. Only I think that they've done it a lot in other places over religion. And, you know, we shouldn't be divided over God. And we shouldn't be controlled over God. But anyways, that's for every different person to learn for themselves. And so all these different things are playing out different stories for people to learn things. So all these different, you know, religious wars and all this internal drama that goes on in all these other countries is all things playing out for people to learn and grow. It's not for us to, you know, come and save them. But there is other things, you know, playing out. Like, obviously it has something to do with us being involved because, you know, all across the whole fucking world, now we've got all these people who are involved. But yesterday there was a big, giant protest in London, and they were all on the freedom flag. And Donald, they have pictures of Donald, and he's not just America's president, he's the world. And that's what I have heard a long time ago, that he's going to become like this world leader, but it's not going to be like, he's not going to stay in the world leader kind of thing. He's just going to move us towards freedom. And that's what these people were saying, like this big old huge thing. And there was another thing that was just coming into my mind. Oh yeah, because Trump, what was that? Him saying, it was something, I can't think of what it was. It was like a crossover thing. I thought I would, but it'll probably come back to me. But anyways, so the, okay, wow, I feel lost. Okay, so the people over there having this big protest and making him the deity, the God of freedom for all of us. That he's trying to expose things, and something about okay, I'm going back to the show. So in this show though, that there's journalist guy who's over there in like Kosovo or something, trying to get this footage of this war that's going on, and he thinks he's meeting up with his contacts, and he's really meeting up with some other, you know, some of the opposing side, the people, well, they're, I think mostly that they get called, you know, with terror, and then you put an ist at the end. I think that mostly that's what they're called in different places. Like we would call them that, domestic ones or foreign ones. But I think that that's basically what they create in all these different places. You know, here we have cops and stuff, but in some of the places they just use these, you know, like him-oss kind of situations. So they make these certain people, like I think of them like the instigators, like I call the instigators. Like we have all of those people here trying to instigate problems, murdering people, all that kind of stuff. And so that they do that in all these other places. So these guys aren't dressed like soldiers or something. They just look like regular guys, but they're carrying machine guns. And so this journalist gets out and tries to make contact, and they shoot him. And, but when I had seen it, it retouched this past life that I had. And, I talked about this one before because it was so strange. It was, and I got this when it was in a dream, and it was so real. Oh my God, it was so intense. And so I was, I knew there was something. Like I had this feeling like I was in trouble or something. And so when it started, it was like this field, and there was all these people walking, like they told us to walk out into the field. And so we were walking out into the field, and then they, you know, started, all of us. And so I had just kept wanting it to just be like a, you know, take me out, but it didn't. And so when I went down, then I was taken into this little like room thing, and I was laid on this little bed thing, just laid there to just die, you know. And my daughter came in to see me, my oldest daughter, and I was like, okay, so obviously we were in this past life together, because you know, this never happened, and none of this stuff ever happened. And so then it was like she was coming to say goodbye. But anyways, when I was watching this show, because I had always thought, like, you know, why was I going out in the field? Is that how they, you know, put you to death or something? Like, it was weird. But then when I watched that show and they took him in, like after they took him and they went and put him in a room, like, I was like, oh, so it's kind of like these these little war battle things. It's like one side, when one side goes heavy, you know, and like a takeover. And so it could be like, you know, regular citizens, but then all of a sudden you're criminal because you're not following what they're telling, like what they're trying to do to us right now. Only they've been able to do this before. But now they can't because it's a time of change. But before they could do this kind of stuff to us, go into, it keeps making me think about like the Romanovs or something. Like there was this group of people, I think they were called the Romanovs, but I could be off on the name. But there's a show about it, and I've heard stories about it, but I don't know the whole thing. But it was this family, I think it was in Russia, and they were in, you know, the royal family or something. But then when this has happened all through history, like a new king, well, no, it's, because even when it was like the French or whatever, the English, the Scott, like all these different ones, there would be some king who would be like, well, we're going to go take them over. We want that land. We're going to go take them over. And then we're going to, I think this had a lot with the Protestant and the Catholic too. And then they go and then they say, well, now if you know, believe this stuff, you are a criminal. So, I guess they did that like I think in Ireland and in Scotland. But but over there, it was something with the crowns too, and the war on the religion, and it was between this Protestant and Catholic thing, I think. But they killed a lot of people. Even when it was my brother was doing our ancestry and going back, and he got back to I thought it was like, he was back in like the 700s or 900s, how he had gone back. And I can't remember whatever year it was, but there's some guy who we were linked to who created the biggest genocide, like over in fucking Ireland or something, killed all these fucking, must have been Protestant, no, maybe he was killing the Catholics. I don't know. Somebody in Ireland could give more of the history, but so go over there. From, you know, the king and whatever he was, the king of England, he was Protestant, and it's like, we got to get rid of all the Catholics, so go over there to Ireland and kill them all. And so this guy, he was some kind of a religious person. These religious people all the time, murderers, huh? So he goes over there, and it was the biggest genocide that has ever happened in that group. And it was like this fucking relative of mine way, way back did all these people in. It's disturbing. And then when he's going and was looking at these people's names and stuff, I just picked a couple of names and just went and Googled to see what their history was. And I was like, oh my God. Because it was another one too that I looked up, and he was, he worked like for the king or the duke or something. And he was a tax collector, and he would take all this money from people, you know, and well, you may not know, but they would go and tax people like for everything. They would just try and take people, so you could never get ahead. You were always broke, you were always owing, and that has been going on forever. And so the people who, those guys, the one, he was, when he died, he was dug back up. Or I think, I'm pretty sure he was already dead when this happened. But again, like, I don't know all the history. This was also from like Google. And they quartered it. I think it's called quartered them. And they tie a horse to each arm and then each leg. And then they have them pull. And then it just splits the person into all these bits. And then they took the bits, I don't remember if they buried him separate or something. The other guy, they also decimated his grave and pulled him out and cut him up, put his head up or something. Like these people were hated in the times. So when we think about like the legacy, what we're coming in to change ancestry and stuff, like if you went back, you'd find some bullshit in your fucking family line where you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? It's like there's had to be some change. Like, God damn. And but this shit has been going on for so long, and it's all about learning and lessons. And, you know, there's some stuff that, you know, possibly we know because the people who experienced it are sitting here telling us and getting us to see things, because you do have this universal conversation going on, even if you aren't able to decipher all the communication. You do have that. So you can have, like, the people who were involved with that, and their soul is still around trying to direct us to clean up, you know, the horrific shit they did, because they got shit so out of balance for themselves. Is you know, that's not, you know, even if they have religious people doing that, that's not God's plan. Why would God create something in order to just kill it? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And where people just want to think it's like one creator is doing all this stuff. It's like, no, it's like the universe. I don't know. I mean, some people can look at like the universe as God, but I look at the universe as all of us. Like we are the creation of, what would the universe be without us? You know, it's us that gives the universe life. So there isn't a God over us. It is, to me, it's like you learning how to be your own God, how to take care of yourself, to be self-motivated, self-contained, like a lot of stuff about you, knowing who you are. And like in this world, that is another thing that is so fucking exhausting, is how people look at things and see things. Oh my God, all the... And it's weird too, people out there trying to, you know, push that they're so spiritual and stuff. And then, I don't know, there's just this video where this guy was saying, oh, go get this pizza. Go order this pizza. It's like, okay, for one thing, all the restaurants and all the food and shit is falling apart. And so if you're going to go to a restaurant and order a pizza, just figure you're going to be getting some garbage. And then he said, you know, to put pepperoni on it. And I'm like, okay, how is there all these people who think they're so awake, but then they don't know, like, you're eating people? Like, where do you think all this meat is coming from? And then there's a whole nother step up, you know, where you start being like, okay, I don't need to take some other death thing's energy. That's not giving me energy. That's a part of what they told me I needed in order to survive. But it's like you have to click in your mind to start seeing, like, the things they told us, their food pyramid and stuff wasn't right. It was to make people sick and unhealthy and overweight. So, and the way that people just do it. They don't stop and think, well, I'm not going to go and eat all that because that's going to make me gain weight. No, it's like, well, I should eat that because I'm supposed to eat that. And so if my body can't compensate and can't handle it, well, it's my body's fault. So oh yeah, because this new burger place has opened up in LA and in Orange County, and it is the competition for what is that place called that's so popular over there? I've never had one of their burgers because I never ate meat when I ever was around them, but it was I don't know, some popular burger place there that's just California, and it has like long lines to have to wait in. I think I tried their fries. I think I went with my kids before and they were getting burgers, and and I was trying the fries, but it seems like, I don't know, animal fries or something. I don't remember. But anyways, it's this popular burger place. And now this other one has opened, and it was showing this like commercial on TikTok or something. And it makes all these big fancy burgers. So it's like, totally looks like In-N-Out Burger. It totally looks like In-N-Out Burger. That's what they're fashioning their thing. Only they've got more fries. They got 3 different kinds of fries. And then their big giant cheeseburgers are $3.50. $3.50 for these big giant cheeseburgers. Fucking McDonald's charges like $8 or something for a burger. And so $3.50. And I was watching them cook these burgers and stuff, and I was like, I don't know where people think all this meat's coming from. Like, if you can't figure out, like, go listen to Rabbi Finkelstein, what he says where the meat's coming from. Like, that's right out of the fucking horse's mouth. As you're also eating some horse. You're eating some dog, you're eating some horse, you're eating human remains, you're eating basic garbage. Like, if you went and you prepared that for yourself, there's not a goddamn thing that you'd want out of it. That's for sure. And that's the thing. That's where we've gotten out of. Preparing shit for ourselves. What was that? I was like making something the other day. And, oh, yeah. It was like I was stirring something. And I opened the microwave, which is just storage for me. I really need to just redo my whole kitchen, bathroom, all this stuff. But this lady also, I shared the video. This lady was talking about how people redo stuff in their house and price their house out of their neighborhood. I was like, I don't understand. People don't think things through. Like, you can't go and do all this work on a house and make your house worth $1 million if your neighborhood is worth $250. Like, Jesus. So, sometimes I was just like, this morning I've definitely been ranting, like, oh my God, we're in hell. We're in hell. The fucking archons, they love to knock the goddamn knives down. They like, fuck, I'm down. I cannot wait until shit turns. I just really have a lot of hope on this turning thing. I know the turning's happening. I'm not saying hope on that. I have a lot of hope of that's when it's going to start feeling better. Like, I know at some point things are going to get better, but it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, and just don't forget, like, this is from 2016. This isn't, from 2020 when I woke up. No, that was when I saw the truth through other things. But no, I was already in 2016. I was already out filming the sky. I was already out telling everybody what was going on. I was already focused on the sun event. I was already on there. It wasn't until 2020 where there was a relief that happened when I all of a sudden understood, like, oh, the reason I can't talk to people is because they're all fucking mind controlled. Like, and it's all based on lies. It's like, that's when I saw that. The mind control and all the motherfucking lies in the media. And everybody's mind controlled under lies. So, and that wasn't the awakening to me. I was already, like, going around telling people, like, do you notice, like, everything's 3-dimensional? It's like you go out and you're, like, going through a picture. And people would be like, what are you talking about? And nobody would listen to me because I had a brain injury. So, like, oh, my God, she's really going crazy now. It's like, I'm not going crazy. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not going crazy. And so anyways, I've been having this frustration for a long time. And then you can go clear back to, when I got my brain injury. And that was in 2009. And everything, like, I had already lost time. I was losing so much of reality. And so to me, it's like, I've been going through this for a long time. So, I'm definitely got to go with my mood when I'm having a mood of like, this is bullshit. Come on. God damn. Oh, God. Oh, man. Even yesterday when I saw Trump go on Twitter, I was like, on TikTok. I was like, oh, he can make things so much more fun every day. the rude shit he says and the stuff he says. But there's so, but they're going to censor him. I can't imagine that they're going to let his videos go. Even on Twitter, he was being censored. But it's just another one of those platforms for him to say the bullshit. To say, like, oh, I'm putting this out and they won't let it go. Why don't they let this go? And then he always slides in, like, his stuff that he's trying to get people to see, because he has the ability to get a lot of attention. You know, a lot of people paying attention. Like, there's so many videos right now, everybody's calling him a felon. He's got a felony from this thing? I don't even know. I thought it was some kind of Stormy Daniel payoff case or something. So now whatever his charges are, whatever all this bullshit is, it's just more to show us how corrupt our judges are, our courts, how they're not there for us, how they're only there to control and contain us. And if you try and speak outside of what they allow, what off their script, they'll take you down. And that's what all his stuff is going to eventually show. I mean, it shows to some of us, but some people haven't seen that part yet. But that's, you know, the build-up, or in the build-up for the big show. I mean, let me think. Where am I? 51 minutes. Let me think. What else was there? There was something yesterday that I had said, and then I was like, oh, I didn't ever finish saying that. I hate when I do that. I say something and then don't finish it, but now I can't remember what it was. So I do that all the time too. Let me think. What else? Was there something else? I swear to God there was. But I don't know. My mind can break out of wherever it is. Break out and get to the other side. The other side of peacefulness and happiness. And I just keep it keeps smelling like a burn smell. I'm thinking, oh my God, the timer thing had already gone off. And that little toaster oven thing doesn't stay like super hot. So I don't know. Hopefully it didn't burn it. I burned some kind of thing the other day. There's a lot of cooking disasters I make. I try lots of different things. I'll just make shit up too. I'll just try things, make it up, see how it works. As mostly I'm not following any recipes. Mostly I just make up recipes, especially if you're baking. It's like, it's kind of the same in all of them. You just do the same kind of things. You need like the baking powder, baking soda, flour, salt, sugar, eggs, and then whatever else you're going to put. It's like the same shit all the time. Now it's starting to get dawn. I'm curious about the planetary alignment, but I don't know. It's way too cloudy, and I have such limited view of the sky. In the pictures I was seeing, it looks like the picture I had seen wasn't a real picture, it was a diagram. And it looked like it was going to be across the sky, and it was going to look like a little white ball, and like maybe a little one, and then another, and then we're going to all be in a line, and then each little ball would get a little bit smaller as it goes out, and they all look like, you know, a space in between. And so, you know, I don't know. I know everything is aligning us into change, into, you know, and everything that has to change is bad for us, but it's everything that we have adapted our lives around. Everything in our lives is, you know, bad for us. It's like a part waking up and realizing the food's bad for you, which also, if you haven't ever seen that Rabbi Finkelstein's interview, and he says that they feed us back ourselves. They feed us, and they think it's hilarious because we're Gollum or something. We're garbage to them. We're just this Gollum thing or something. And so, yeah, going and eating all these, especially the ground up meat. Like, oh yeah, I saw a guy cooking a steak the other day on the grill. He went and paid $100 for all these big steaks and was out cooking them on the grill. And he's like, this isn't real meat. This isn't cooking right. So that is another thing too. is some of this stuff isn't even real meat. Some of it is like lab grown or 3D printed. Like, I don't know, because you got to think, like, this, the grocery stores are having this stuff delivered. The grocery stores is so wild. Is like, you know, when you have more perspective, like, for more time. Because back when I was a kid, you'd go to the market, like we'd go to the market with our mom. In the butcher department, he had fucking cow back there. He's back there cutting up a cow. And you could watch through the windows. Like, he wasn't cutting it up like a cow standing there and he's cutting it up. No, but you, like where you see in food places where they have like the big cows hanging or pigs hanging. And I think I've seen those like in movies in New York, or sometimes in a scary movie even. And the people are back there trying to hide in the freezers, and they're hiding behind these big cows and stuff. So it used to be like they would kill the animal, and then they would send this big animal to the grocery store. And then the butchers, which they weren't just guys like nowadays, these people don't know shit. Butchers back in the day, they knew how to cut the meat. They were like experts. Everything used to be so much more of an expert. And so the butchers would be in there, you know, and you could talk to them, and they would tell you how to cook it and everything. It used to be so much more. Oh yeah, I saw this video. This guy was all proud of himself because he had talked to somebody, like a stranger, and it went well. I was like, you got to talk to strangers. Like, come on. It shouldn't be so strange. Like, ugh. I talk to goddamn strangers all the time. People imprison themselves. They just imprison themselves in their safety. Their anxiety holds them. It's like, geez, you got to talk to people you don't know. It's not like, I don't know what to tell somebody about that. Like, you just are scared to talk to people. You're scared you're going to be judged or what? Like, you know, well, that's really good, you know, for you to go talk to a stranger and feel good about it, like, and not feel like it was a disaster. But you'd think, like, we would be a little further ahead than, like, 45-year-olds just figuring out that they can talk to strangers. It's like, oh, my God. We got to, you know, we got to get better with each other. That's how you form community, you know, it's kind of like a respect to talk to other people or something. It's no wonder everybody thinks everybody's NPCs. It's because you created NPCs. It's like nobody has any significance in your mind. Everybody is just out there as just, you know, shadows to your life. It's like, well, you are really absorbed in your life somewhere. Like, if you aren't interacting and, you know, playing a part in your reality of life, not just, I don't know, there's just so many people that just seem so cut off. So I don't even know where all this awakening is, you know. I mean, all these people, there's so much that has to change. So much has to change. Like, the whole way people eat has to change. And, because back too, when we had, like, you know, the professional meat cutters, and you actually saw a cow and they would sit back there and cut it, not just this, they get delivered this meat. It could be wherever this meat is being grown or handled or something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all coming from farms. I don't think it is. There's like meat packing places, but then there's like these places that I said is, I learned about them watching the Big Farmer, what is that guy? Serial killer documentary thing. And that they would go and take the remains to a place that they take all the remains. So if you buy one of these places, like, your dog can die, you can take it down there. Your horses, your cows, anything that's rotten and, not doing well, like anything that's like sickly or whatever, and it dies, and you take it to this thing, and they dispose of all this meat, but they don't really dispose of it. You know, a portion of it is turned into pink goo, which is a collagen kind of stuff or something that they use. Like, it's used a lot in, like, what are those things everybody likes to eat? Those Swedish gummy worms and all that shit, that glycerin or something. There's something that they use is like this pink goo to make, but they use that pink goo in like face products and stuff. But I think besides them just taking the remains and mushing it all up and making this goo, they also at this point are you know, I think there's probably people who are just, you know, eating people steaks, like, or eating horse steak or eating dog steak. Like, the amount of dogs they're putting to death, healthy fucking dogs that they are putting to death nonstop, all day, every day. It's obscene, man. Fucking murdering healthy animals. And you know, just like, you know, they're not going to waste any kids. They're not going to waste any meat. They're going to sell it to you. And so, I don't know. To me, as a part of the waking up. And it's weird because, like, I knew it as a kid. It was like every time I would start, you know, because it was a big thing about eating beef when I was a kid. And especially I lived in Texas. And, you know, I mean, we have to eat that all the time. And I would sit there and chew it. And it would just gross me out. And I would spit it in my napkin and get in trouble about it. I would chew it and chew it and chew it. It was like, oh, I couldn't swallow it. It was like, and all I could think about, this is like eating a person. And it just would gross me out. I never understood, you know, as I was always different. I was different about food when I was different than the rest of my family. I've always been different. And so so when you're different, then you're always odd man out. And so it's very uncomfortable. And so, you know, I'm sure my mom did see me more of a challenge. But yeah, I couldn't do it then. And it's like, man, they had cows then, and you know, that they were cutting up in the stores, and you could buy the right there and see. And so it probably was really cow, but I don't know. It was already in my mind that it was person. And then as I got to be older and understood more about past lives, I kept thinking, well, it must be because, like, I was in a past life where we had to eat people or something, and so I can't eat meat because it grosses me out because it reminds me of eating people. You know, I've always I've had that. So. But there's so many people who, you know, they think it's like they gotta eat it in order to survive. And to me now, it's just like, oh. But even if you're still eating like beef and pork and stuff, if you're eating pork, you gotta really make sure you cook the fuck out of it. Like that is giving people real live worms crawling around inside of them. And those worms a lot of the ones that live in pork, they like to eat your brain. So, and it's weird as all this stuff goes too, because, you know, my aunt who died of, they said it was Alzheimer's, early onset Alzheimer's. And it was, because, I mean, this was a long while ago, because it was even in, I don't remember when she lived, oh man. And it was very much like, oh, God, because she lived like where most people thought she was very selfish. And she had kids, and she wasn't super nice to her kids. And even after she's died, then it was found that she had another kid that nobody knew about, who was adopted out. And so but she's that kid, you know, I'm trying to think how many of her kids are still alive. Maybe 2 out of 4. I know one, it was something tragic with my one cousin. It seems like 2 of them, 2 of the sons had a tragic ending. But I don't know, maybe only one of them. I can't remember that well. But anyways, you know, she had, you know, a kind of a selfish kind of life. And then, she traveled and stuff. And so it was like when she was in France. She was on some like long bike thing or something, and they said something about that she had eaten beef in France and during a mad cow thing, and so they were saying she had mad cow for a while, and then it got changed to early onset Alzheimer's, and then her daughter had a daughter who had MS and another thing by the time she was 18, which that is more rare too, because all this stuff, like science took my aunt's brain and said that they were going to go and study it because they were sure they were going to be able to cure MS, Alzheimer, whatever. They were going to, it was like all this stuff that they were going to figure out because there was these links with her in her genetics with stuff that they had already thought, the links were there. And so they were going to go study her. Now, after all this stuff, and I haven't ever heard about what her stuff, if they're still studying or whatever, but now after hearing all this stuff on all these autopsies and stuff, how they're finding all of these parasites, and that's what's killing everybody. And so that, that to me is that she did have that, the mad cow thing, and it just kept eating her brain. Like she could have, you know, took some horse paste back then. Never had any of that stuff happen. Never. But, you know, that's not what she was here for. She was here for this other thing. And how it was going to affect people and, you know, because how your life affects others helps others to grow and learn and stuff. So we all have these effects on each other. And a lot of times, you know, we get upset when it's a negative. What we look at it is like a negative effect, but the negative effects really help us grow and help us see things and help us understand things. And it is, there's so much power in understanding yourself, you know, not just blaming the world for how you feel, but to understand yourself. So that is a power play, really. And so anyways, she ended up dying, you know, in her early 50s from early onset Alzheimer's, they called it. And then, and I just am like, oh my gosh, now to know all this stuff about the link and the links with the parasites and stuff. So, and how much stuff too has to do with your acidity and your alkaline of your body, and how you need to be able to figure that out. And this guy, oh yeah, because it was on Rogan's show. I just saw this clip, and this guy was telling him everybody should get this certain test. No, I don't know, it's like $500 or $600 test or something, and it tells you something about your mineral deficiencies or something, and what it is that you need. And then what he was saying is that to check and see what if you have a problem with MT, and I keep seeing people talk about these things. It's like MTHFR or something, or MTFFR, or MTHR, or MTR. It's like these different ones. And it's like, well, I don't even know what those are. But then he said to see how you, what is that word called? How they process through you. If your body keeps them or it dismisses them or whatever, if they get out of balance somewhere. Because there's based on some sort of deficiencies or something that will put you all out of order. And that is, that's the other thing, is like to know what minerals and stuff you need, what minerals that, you know, that you can, I'll share the video because I can't think of exactly how he said it, but, you know, but I do know that that is a thing. It is about, each of us has like an alkalinity and acidic level, and it can get out of balance, and you need everything to be in balance. And then this thing with the bugs and worms and shit like that, that puts you out of balance. Then the minerals and not knowing which ones you need. And I know it has to do with deeper stuff like your DNA and stuff. It has to do with other lives and everything. And so, you know, knowing what it is that you need, what it is you don't need, what it is you need to process, and all of those things. So, you know, and I don't know what test it is, but I would just, what was it? He was saying something too about, you know, a lot of people don't go and try and figure it out, but that's what I've been talking about, is trying to figure it out. You know, like, and mine got figured out by accident on a part of it, because I was, drinking out of the copper cup every day at the same time I had started taking vitamin D and magnesium, but I wasn't doing it for that purpose. It was for a different purpose, and it just all went together. But then also I didn't realize that moringa can turn your hair. Like, I don't even know what all's in moringa. And I think even in the, what is that called too? The sea moss stuff that is popular too. I think the sea moss stuff has turned people's hair back. So it really depends on what it is that your body requires. And once you find that sweet spot, then you find out, like, aging isn't real. And but like how I had stopped with the 1 magnesium and tried to do just the mineral salts and the spray. And then I was taking the selenium too. I was like, okay, well, I'll still be on these other magnesiums, but I'll try the selenium. And then I wasn't, you know, everything just kind of was staying the same. And so I was like, okay, I don't think I have a selenium deficiency, because it doesn't seem to be doing much to me. And then went back on the magnesium, lysate, glycinate, and then right away, I was like, oh my gosh, my hair is changing again really quick. So then it's like, okay, so I definitely have some issues with magnesium and copper, obviously. And, which I just saw this girl who had red hair, and she was dyeing her red hair because her red hair was kind of losing its color. And so she was putting more richness into her hair, but you can do that with copper. Like, I can't even believe the color changing in my hair and how much more, red. I was even thinking, even on my skin tone, I was like, man, I would feel like I would be a lot more whiter looking at this point of, you know, not having any summer in so long. And so, I was like, man, it still seems like I have color in my skin. It's got to be from the copper, from drinking out the copper. It adds in, color to you. It adds in something in you that you restore your color. And so I wanted to tell that girl, you don't have to dye your hair, just start drinking out of a copper cup. So this other lady who, she had been doing the letting her hair go natural journey thing. That's a whole journey. And she had, her hair is only about like this long. And she always dyed it black. And then it had grown out where it was like, it was so much had grown out, and it was very gray. And she didn't like it anymore. She was like, she was having a bad day. She was feeling old. She was trying to put on her jeans. They wouldn't fit. She was just, couldn't stand it. And so she dyed her hair again and went back to black. She gave up on the thing. And I wanted to also tell her, you don't have to dye your hair. Just start drinking out, figure out what your mineral deficiency is. And then you won't have to worry about it. But that's one problem too in our society that has happened. So many people color their hair that they don't know what's happening, because of your body is, your hair is your like thermometer. So it's talking to you, it's communicating with you. But so many people are like, you know, have put something over it so it can't communicate with you. So that's kind of like ignoring it. And so, you know, she can just keep dyeing her hair and not paying any attention to what color it really is, and not doing anything, and just get sicker and age more, older looking, because her body's already being drained. And it's her whole head of hair. Like on mine was like, it was spreading. Like it is spread a lot with the white. You know, like now it's barely anything. But before, it used to be a lot more. Like all of this was white. Like, I don't know. how much. Like, I'd have to go back and look at the pictures. But, like, anytime I pulled my hair back like this was just, like, solid white. Like, it was starting to be like a mohawk of color. But, you know, like, some of these people, my sister, like, she colors her hair, and she only sees, like, the gray peeking, and then they go and get their roots done. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Everybody's here to learn their own stuff and do their own thing, you know. I can only say the stuff that, what I've learned and what I see and what I can acknowledge and what I've realized. But everybody's on their own journey. You can't get people to see what you see, or get people to understand what you understand, or even have interest in what you have interest in. So, I mean, it really is up to each of us. And I know there's lots of people out there speaking about all these different things. So there's like voices everywhere around us to get us to move in the right direction. And there's definitely so many people who are fed up about working and never getting to spend time with their families. And, you know, this society is very twisted, and it's untwisting. But yeah, it's kind of like a tornado going the other direction. It goes like spitting things out. And so, you know, this is going to be the time of change. Everything's going to change. Everything of their stuff is toxic. It's not going forward. I mean, even when you think about like science and medical, even when I was watching, what was it? It was something. I've been on a thing lately where I turn something on and it's like, turn on music for a while, turn on this, go outside, go and walk Stella, and she's just, all she wants is a big yard, giant yard to take care of and to go around and take care of, because she wants to take care of everybody's fucking house. She wants to go and do inspections and show me what's out of place, and she'll go and stop and just stand and stare at people's yards. It's like, come on, Stella, let's go. Let's walk. Why are we standing here? And she's been attacked a couple of times over the last week by other dogs. What was that? Let me think. It seemed like there was something else I was going to say. But whatever it was. All I know is it's up to each person to figure their stuff out and to look at things deeper. It's like, once you start looking at things deeper, it's going to just keep coming and coming and coming. But, oh yeah, the science fiction thing. Because on the movies, and, or say science fiction, and then something would come on, it would be truth. And I'd be like, oh my God. They're always trying to just tell us, like, science fiction. This isn't real. But it is where they're spilling some truth. And what was that? It was another thing in the movies. Oh, because in the old movies and stuff where you know, you see like how they turned our society and stuff. And there's a common theme that drives me fucking bonkers. Besides that, they make women so helpless. And they're always screaming. And they're always hysterical. They don't know how to handle anything. Oh, God. And then it's always the common theme. Oh, women, they just can't handle anything. And then, but they also have this in so many movies. It is weird. It's like, for one thing, if a woman had a man come in her house, like if I had a man come in my house and he ended up attacking me, well, you know, you should have known better. You shouldn't have had him come in your house. What kind of fool are you? So there was no mercy on the, you know, it was your fault. He didn't do anything wrong. He did what he was going to do. It's like, let the snake in, you know what's going to happen. And so that is a common thread through the movies. But this, so often, like these women, and so many times it'll be like their husband's friend or a good friend of theirs or something. And then he decides he wants her. And he's going to kiss her, or he's going to touch her or something. The women, it is like freeze frame. They cannot handle it. They can't do anything. They shrink. They just, oh. And sometimes they'll run from them. But it's like the guys could do whatever they wanted. And even in this one with the girl, she runs upstairs. She's going to go hide in her bedroom because he's downstairs, and he's just starts attacking her. And she runs upstairs and hides. And so then he's standing there and he goes, oh, see, I love it when they run, and I love it when they, like, that is programming. And we wonder how it has turned into this, what we have going, because, you know, he's saying, you know, that's okay. She can run. That makes it more fun. That's exciting. You know, she wants it. And I really got in people's heads. Like, that was a thing. It went on for a long time. It's just now breaking apart. But so much of what we've been trained to believe is breaking apart. And there's so much different segments, like, of our existence in the generations. They've been taught to believe this and taught to believe this, and then look at the fucking differences too of how, what, you know, 30 years ago what they were taught to believe, and now, like, there's no way these guys are not gonna go put their hair in pink ponytails and run around like, and you know, and these guys over here are definitely not going to be aggressive towards a woman. So anyways, there's just like we just have a lot of stuff that we've got to come to terms with and stuff. Like, everybody's got to face their own stuff and question their own stuff and think it through. Because definitely, you know, there's nobody who has all the right answers and are doing all the right thing. The more of it is, the more perspective you add in. The more you can talk to strangers and get their perspective and add it into your own. The more that you can see the big picture. The picture gets bigger and bigger, the more you can see. The more perspective you add on. When you keep yourself in limitation, then that's all you're going to have is limitation. You keep yourself caged, that's all you're going to be as a prisoner. And it's time for each person to recognize that and to get comfortable with themselves and get comfortable with the communication outside of yourself. Like, there's you know, there's a lot of, but it's you finding peace in yourself, you finding comfort, you finding, you know, where you trust yourself. Like, so many people just hate themselves. They don't trust themselves. They hate their body. They hate their face. They hate this. They hate that. And it's, and no matter what, you know, and being somebody who, you know, I grew up hating my face, and then came to the point of, like, I like myself. I like myself. And that changes everything for yourself when you begin to like yourself. So, you know, no matter what, it's all learning how to accept yourself and like yourself. Like, I didn't like myself. I didn't like my body. I was trying to change it. I didn't like my face. I thought I had, you know, I thought I had a good personality, but everybody else thought I was a weirdo. Like, so, I don't know. You just gotta, you know, love yourself. That's it. You know, learn how to love yourself, and then love everyone, and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.